Hey, what's up? This is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and in this episode, I talked to Scott Moore from Tejas Chocolate Craftery and Barbecue in Tomball, Texas, which is just northeast of Houston, Texas. I really think you're going to enjoy this story. It's fascinating how he went from the railroad business to bean to bar chocolate to selling bean to bar chocolate at a very high level, and then adding barbecue as a component to their brick and mortar location to sort of widen their customer base. uh, it's fascinating. It's fascinating too to hear what the reaction and what being voted number 6 in the Texas Monthly Top 50 did to their business. It's interesting to hear all the different meats he's done. At one point, they're doing 15 different meats. They've whittled that down, but they do a pastrami brisket. They do a pastrami beef rib on Thursdays. They have a thing called a golden ticket. That when you come over there, you can grab a golden ticket and then go over to, so it holds your place in line, which is an homage to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He's just a cool guy, and it's interesting to hear about him and his family. If you like what you see, please subscribe. I'll be doing a new one every week. Please enjoy this one. Well, good morning.
Marty,
How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. How about you?
Doing fantastic. It's 6:53 here in Los Angeles, but
Early. Yeah.
what does your day look like today?
Today is Friday. It's a heavy cook day for us. We're cooking lunch for us on Friday is the busiest weekday.
Hmm.
So we got a lot going on to get ready for lunch, and then the briskets are going on here in a bit, and those are for tomorrow, and which Saturday is our biggest day. So we're doing a lot of cooking today. So Friday is the heaviest cook day of the week for us.
Excellent. Yeah, it makes the most sense. So I know that a lot of people probably don't know. They've heard of Tejas Chocolate Craftery. Is that the name that you're sticking with right now?
We've kind of changed it up a little bit. The building's referred to as a craftery. That idea came out of the fact that beer is made in a brewery, and we're
Hmm.
making chocolate. Factory sounded a little too industrial, so I just took craft and factory and put it together and made up my own word for that. So that's how we started Tejas Chocolate Craftery. But now we're really calling ourselves Tejas Chocolate and Barbecue.
Chocolate and barbecue.
I realize I've learned through the process that you got to hit people upside the head with what your name is, so they really know what you do. We were missing out on barbecue people because the word barbecue wasn't in the name.
It's good.
Simple as that.
It's kind of sad, but it does make sense. People do need to see that, and they might think that you're a different company, that you're a chocolate company that has a similar name, maybe. I guess.
That's what happened. I mean, people would drove by it all the time and said, I had no idea you had barbecue. I just thought it was a chocolate shop. Why would I ever want to go there? And that's kind of the beautiful thing about what's taking place here. So we put a barbecue sign out in the front yard, and we started drawing some of those in, and then word of mouth started getting around, and people coming in for barbecue get to discover chocolate, and they're experiencing that, and some of those were winning over by the bushload. So it's people are getting chocolate on their plate or at their house that they never would have gone out of the way to get themselves. But the barbecue was the hook and to get them in the building.
See, that's fantastic, and it's so interesting, and that's what I love about you guys is that you do sell, that you started from the chocolate background. What's your original background?
My original background, I've always been a sales slob. When college came out, got a sales trainee job. I started selling ladies sportswear and swimwear back in the 80s.
Okay,
Really as glamorous as it sounded like, I
it
mostly
sounds
dealt with.
exciting.
Yeah, it was mostly dealing with frumpy mom and pop operators. But I did that for a while. Then I got in the railroad industry with a small supply company selling parts for rail cars, and I did that for 17 years. I was a sales director, had a pretty fluffy salary and expense account, and got a little bit tired of doing that. Saw an opportunity to pick up a product line to do my own thing, and
Okay.
so I did my own business for a while in the railroad industry. So that's my background in sales and business.
And then, wow, that's really interesting. The railroad. Do you still deal with those people at all? Do you still talk to those people? Are they? Was it a local business? Was your office local, so that way you get a lot of those customers still? Or?
There are a lot of people that still come in here. Other sales guys I knew mostly, but some customers. We dealt with a lot of the big chemical companies like Chevron, Phillips, and Exxon Mobil. They own big private fleets of rail cars they need to maintain, and those are my customers.
Oh
So they're
wow.
local. So I see a lot of the railroad cronies in here all the time. I'm getting old enough now to where most of my buds are getting retired, and they're on golf courses and fishing, and I'm working 15 hours a day. I'm wondering what the heck is wrong.
Well, they have now. They have time to come in and eat your barbecue, right? They have to.
They do, and they do. I make them wait in line with everybody else too. I get some about it. They want that side door passed, but no, that doesn't work.
What made you start the chocolate business? Like I don't know how does it go from railroad to chocolate?
Yeah, I know. Well, I was basically a foodie, backyard cook, just a guy who likes to cook a lot, and interested in all things food. And literally was just surfing TV one day and came across a special about two guys in New York making bean to bar chocolate.
I think I saw that.
It's Mass Brothers Chocolate in New York. And so I thought the topic was really interesting. And what really caught my attention was the single origin nature of roasting different cocoa beans and expressing that into a chocolate bar. I was just getting a little bit of a hint of that through single origin coffee. So it kind of caught my attention, and I never imagined that was possible with chocolate. So I watched that and got curious. I was never a chocolate guy outside of ice cream or cake. Chocolate bar is not my deal.
Yeah, same with me.
I never really had a good one, is what I found out. So I got curious. I bought chocolate and experienced some craft chocolate for the first time, and it was a discovery process.
Gotcha.
And so that kind of got me going. And one of the brothers in that show, he said a line that really caught my attention probably the most, and that was he thought that every neighborhood should have a chocolate maker. And that, from a business perspective, that kind of piqued my interest a little bit. Like, okay, let's look around the neighborhood. Well, it turns out the neighborhood of Texas did not have a chocolate maker.
The small neighborhood of Texas.
Yeah, no chocolate maker. Texas.
Wow.
So that's got me kind of thinking about both from a standpoint of making chocolate at home to see if I could do it, and then secondly to see if I could turn it into a business or not. And that's how I got started.
Wow. And then so did you start selling it out of your home?
I started selling a little bit out of the home, and then out of we converted a little front office at our warehouse park, and a little bit here and there. But it really started to take off when we set up at the Tomball Farmers Market to sell it on Saturdays at the farmers market and get some exposure. Then we got discovered by a couple of chocolate connoisseurs and buyers. We sold some chocolate bars to Whole Foods, sold some bars to Central Market, and Specs Liquor Store. Murray's Cheese out of New York had these kiosks in certain Krogers around the Kroger marketplaces. And so they bought chocolate to put at their kiosk at the marketplace in Kroger. So and all that, once we got up and going, all that kind of started to pick up and run off the races. And I made an entry into the International Chocolate Awards, and like a blind squirrel finding an acorn, I found a silver medal with one of our chocolate bars. That got us some attention. And so next thing you know, we're selling a decent amount of chocolate bars on a wholesale basis to distributors and retailers.
So you were doing it just on a wholesale basis. You weren't selling on the internet, or you weren't shipping to direct customers?
Well, after a while, we did set up the internet store, and that's really dicey and tricky when you're in Texas shipping chocolate, when it's 100 degrees outside. Somebody wants to buy, $20 worth of chocolate. Well, the packaging and the shipping is $25 or $30. So it becomes, but we did a little bit during the cooler months. We did some online sales, and but mostly it was wholesale and at the farmers market.
Okay, I see. And so then for your location, for your brick and mortar location that you're at right now, where you started out just selling the chocolate, right? Did you have like a chocolate case, like a case with specific chocolates, and then because I know that you have more than just chocolate bars right now.
Yeah, exactly. We do a lot of these hand rolled chocolate truffles, and as we looked at it, we made a decision to get more in front of directly with customers for two reasons. One is the discount to retailers is substantial. You have to keep providing them with a fair amount of margin in order for them to put you on their shelves. That was when we wanted to capture the margin directly. Second reason was craft chocolate's heavy on education, and we couldn't stand there next to our chocolate at every store and educate people about why they're going to pay $7, $8, or $9 for a chocolate bar.
That's true.
So once people were told the story, most people got it and they would be interested in it. But so we wanted to have a very personal relationship with the customers, and that kind of came from our success at the farmers market. It was a very enjoyable experience.
That's true.
So we went looking for a brick and mortar retail store, and we found the building we're in now, and we have chocolate bars sitting on the counter, and then we have truffles in a it's actually an old meat deli counter, refrigerator. We put a chocolate thermometer in it to keep it at the right temperature, and that's what we display our truffles in.
And then did you, like, was it the case that business wasn't like that you weren't drawing as many customers as you wanted to? Maybe people didn't know about you guys just offhand, and so then you decided to venture into barbecue. I got yeah, with the transition to barbecue, I'm interested in that too. From railroad to chocolate to barbecue. That's
right. How did this happen?
Yeah, how did it happen?
Right. So if it had been the other way around, if I had barbecue, the chocolate would have never happened. So it's so hard. But we knew that we could probably build a nice business with chocolate, but it was going to take a long time. It's going to take some more equipment to produce the amount of chocolate you need to sustain me and Michelle and Greg and an employee or two. The volume it was out of reach for us in a foreseeable future. And when we found this building, we realized that there's space. Chocolate doesn't necessarily take up a whole lot of room, so there's space for that. And if we added food to the equation and looked at a business plan in that way, could we sell enough food to support us? And we ran the numbers. We felt pretty good about it. And the menu became barbecue instantaneously. Greg and I looked at each other, well, we're going to do barbecue. There's no two ways about it.
And were you inspired by other barbecue joints, or were you just cooking at home a lot? Is that
both? I mean, I've been a backyard barbecue warrior. I've been burning briskets in the backyard forever. It seems like, and served some pretty good ones too. But just a fan of the process and barbecue in general. But also huge admiration and been to places like Corkscrew and Terry Black's and Mueller's and those types of places. And just incredibly impressed with the quality of barbecue that those guys put out. And I think at one time we were in a long line at Corkscrew. After we'd been in a long line, we tried to eat at Franklin, but we were last man standing, too late.
That happens.
And so we saw that line. I think about the third time and seeing lines like that, Michelle pretty much looked at me and said, "So why are we messing around with chocolate?"
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
All this enthusiasm for barbecue. These people are lining up around the corner for good barbecue. We got to do this.
And then, but how did you? Because you're number 6 on the Texas Monthly Top 50, and how did you go from deciding to do barbecue? Did you just keep testing it out and testing it out and testing it out, and then eventually, because obviously you're cooking at a certain level that a lot of restaurants are cooking?
Yeah, well, I'm blessed to be coming from a long line of cooks, for one thing. Michelle's gourmet cook. She's fantastic at everything she touches in the kitchen. And Greg, my brother, is a chef.
Okay.
So he's an Italian chef by trade, but understands the whole kitchen, management and food and what people want. So we had a pretty good base of experience going into it. So we bought this cooker I found on Craigslist that we named the Black October. Trailer pit. It looks like a nuclear submarine, is what I call it. And it spent 4 or 5 months in my driveway until Michelle said that's enough. Then we gave it to Greg. He spent 4 or 5 months in his driveway until his neighbors said, "Get it out of here." So we spent almost a year with that cooker, messing around with it in our weekends, tweaking how the pit would run and how it would react to things we wanted to do, and refining kind of a base of what we already understood barbecue to be.
So cooking mostly brisket at that time, or were you cooking ribs too and sausage? Or
we were cooking. Yeah, we were heavily focused on brisket because we knew that that's the one meat in Texas. You just you got to do it. You got to do that well, or
yes.
you're in for a long haul. You just can't mess around with brisket. So we focused heavily on brisket, but we did ribs and turkey and chicken as well in the beginning, and sausage.
You guys make your own sausage now, right?
No, we still do not.
Oh, you
That
don't?
is
Okay,
the
okay,
next.
okay. I was misunderstanding.
Yep, that's the next on the to-do list.
Oh,
We're in the middle of a kitchen expansion. We got lucky. The building that's directly in between the chocolate shop where we have it today and the restaurant came available, and the landlord offered it to us on a lease. So we're in the process of doing a kitchen expansion in there. We'll have plenty of room to set up a little sausage making area. Um, we just don't do it today out of no space. Our kitchen is in a house that was originally constructed in 1907.
oh wow.
It's the oldest building in Tomball. It's tiny, so there's just like no room for things like sausage. But that's coming up here pretty soon. We'll be making our own sausage.
That's exciting. That's a big commitment, but it means a lot too because you're doing it all in house, so you know exactly what you're doing, what's going into it, and
I think the sausage is the one weak link in our game. No pun intended. Our sausage, we do buy sausage from Rufino Meats out of Bryan. They started their business as a sausage maker. That's the one beautiful thing about Texas. There's a great sausage maker around every corner. There's a lot of Czechs and Germans that know how to make sausage.
oh for sure.
And so we've tapped into Rufino's resource for the sausage making, and it is good sausage. It's just that we just don't make it, and we aim to change that here in the next probably 6 months or so.
So have you been for all of this year at least? Starting at the beginning of in January. Were you having long lines? Were you getting good write ups and that good word of mouth and you starting to have lines, or did the lines really pick up after Texas Monthly came out?
In the beginning, we were 2 years old 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And
happy anniversary.
Thank you. I can't believe it's been 2 years. It's incredible. At first, we had an initial push in the beginning because we had a pretty loyal following through social media. They were anticipating the opening of the restaurant, and so we had a kind of a nice initial kick, and then things got like, okay, we need more customers, and we need to get them in here. We did not have lines, and last year, or earlier this year, I should say, during the Super Bowl time, is when we probably caught our first real big break. That was Vice President Pence was taken to one of the local chain barbecue restaurants, and one of the big chains, and people freaked out. It's like, why would you take the vice president there? You got all these great local barbecue joints. So a local talk show radio, Michael Berry's radio show here in Houston, posed the question to his audience and on Facebook, well, where would you have taken him and what would you have ordered him? And a couple people called in and said we would have taken them out to Tejas Chocolate and Barbecue. And so we got some airtime.
Oh, that's great.
And we saw a nice jump in the lines then. And we were coming along at a really comfortable pace. And then Texas Monthly happened. And absolutely, as J.C. Reed said, shot us out of a cannon.
What was that like when you found that out?
The moment of finding out we were number 6 was it was shocking, it was humbling, and it was terrifying. Because now I'm scared, literally out of my mind that, okay, now we're going to be coming here with an expectation.
Huge expectations, yeah.
We better bring our A game every day now. But we had no real idea what to expect in terms of the increase in demand or the attention. But we found out on a Monday from J.C. Reed. He hit me up he called me that morning, and then my phone and the Twitter and all that stuff just went off like a rocket. But we still like, okay, what's going to happen here? And then the next day on Tuesday, I came around to get a cup of coffee about 30 minutes before we were opening and looked out in the lines down to the mailbox. We never even saw that on a Saturday. It was immediate. It was just unbelievable.
The power
of Texas Monthly and that program that they did and the reach that they have with barbecue enthusiasm, all the stuff that Daniel has, just this culture that he has built.
For sure.
For Texas barbecue, I've never seen anything like it. It was unbelievable.
That's amazing. And their program with Yeti, and they're pretty smart about that. It meant a lot 5 years ago or 4 years ago when the last magazine came out, but this year it just seemed like the intensity seemed a lot greater.
Well, I don't know if they knew how successful that thing was really going to be. That was a pretty smart deal. People made it their vacation this last summer. The excitement for it, the stamps, the stickers, the books. I had people on the front porch at 7 o'clock in the morning. One guy took a picture of. We were the very last stamp for him.
Oh,
He
cool.
was out there at 7 o'clock. I'm going to be first in line. 7 o'clock in the morning to get his last. We're the last one.
That's amazing.
So it was a summer of 2017 is going to go down in the books for us.
You'll always remember that, yeah.
Totally, no way you can avoid it.
And your customers, I'm sure at that time it was a different type of customer too. Like you said, people were making vacation trips to come out and go to barbecue joints.
That's exactly right. It was. That's what we noticed immediately. We had developed a really great following of local regulars. For lunch, it's like sandwiches and spuds and salads and some meats and that kind of stuff. When they barbecue, I call them meatheads, when they started rolling in on the heels of Texas Monthly, it's give me pounds of brisket, give me pounds of ribs, give me pounds of sausage. The Trinity lit up like a rocket, so we started on ribs real fast and sausage. It just changed the quantities and the dynamics of our meats quite a bit.
And then you had to up your production for sure, right?
Yeah, we didn't really have to think. We used to have to think about how much to cook, and when that happened, we didn't have to think anymore. We just cook as much as we could fit on the pit. We're now completely under capacity. We could not cook enough. We were selling out at 1:30 or 2 o'clock every day that first week, and then found some ways to increase a little capacity, do some things, and but still, it's like cook all you can and hope it makes it, through lunch.
What is there a line right now already?
Not. I haven't been over there to see it today.
Okay.
But the typical weekday, people start trickling in about 10:15, 10:30. So I'm sure there are. And then on Saturday, they start jumping out there about 9 o'clock. We do this thing we call the golden ticket. You can grab this golden ticket.
Okay.
And reserves your place in line. The farmer's market's 2 blocks away. So you can grab a ticket, walk over to the farmer's market, do a little shopping, get back before we open and save your spot in line.
That's excellent, and I love the Willy Wonka reference too. That's
right. I have to say I didn't think of it. Some of Michelle and my daughter Mackenzie, I think, came up with that idea, but it was our way to say kind of thank you to the farmer's market, because we basically incubated out of the farmer's market. And there's several businesses around Tomball that did the same thing.
Well, that's really cool. So what people should generally assume they'll wait about half an hour, 45 minutes, or what's a usual wait for people, just so they know?
Yeah, half hour is about right. I mean, you get here during the week. If you're here early, if you get here like 10:45, you're probably sitting down eating barbecue by 11:15.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Maybe not bad at all. Saturday, we had some 2-hour lines out there, and we worked hard to try to speed that up. But we have one cutting table, and there's only so much you can do. We were punching about a ticket a minute or less. Big Saturdays we're running 275 to 300 tickets.
That's decent. That's a decent amount. What hours are you guys running?
So we're Tuesday through Saturday. We open at 11 a.m. Our posted hours are to 6, because you got to put an end time on everything. And then we typically sell out before we close. I'm proud of the weekdays that we actually have food right up until closing time, because we have a nice group of people that come in for early dinner or real late lunch, like between 3 and 6 o'clock. And we have a very personal relationship with those guys. So anyway, there's a long way of saying we're open 11 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday.
That's nice to know. And then what meats are you serving?
We serve brisket, pork ribs, sausage, 2 kinds, country style and a jalapeno cheddar. I think one of the meats that we're becoming really known for is we do a pork belly.
Wow.
It's a single rib trim pork belly, so it's a very meaty pork belly, and it's absolutely fantastic. And Some people are reluctant to try it because the word pork belly kind of makes them squeamish. But what happens a lot is we'll be out of brisket and we'll say, hey, try the pork belly. And they'll come around and try that and then get a pound to go.
It's so good.
So a lot of the restaurants now call it the white brisket.
The other brisket.
Right. We do a smoked turkey breast. I think at one time we had 15 or 16 proteins on the menu, and
wow.
Greg and I looked at each other and said, "We've lost our ever-loving mind. We got to trim this down." I mean, we did pork cheeks, beef cheeks, we do beef plate ribs on Saturdays, and on Thursdays, pastrami Thursday. We do a pastrami brisket and a pastrami beef rib.
I've seen those online. Oh, that looks so good.
I think the pastrami beef rib might be the best bite in the building. It could be.
And that's only on Thursdays?
We just do that on Thursday. It takes a week, and it's a refrigeration storage issue more than anything that we're going to be addressing. I'm looking across the way over there at a 10 by 16 walk-in cooler is being installed right now.
Okay.
But the brisket and the pastrami, they brine for a week in a solution to cure, and then we cook it for a day like we would cook a beef rib or a brisket. Oh. So we can only offer it a week because storing brisket in brine takes up a lot of space.
Oh, for sure. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And are you using chocolate in a sauce? Do you guys have a sauce that has chocolate in it? Like a mole stuff?
Yep. That's correct. Greg designed a mole sauce. It's got a little bit of a barbecue slant to it, so it's a little thinner. It's got a slight vinegary hint to it. It's incredibly popular. We had to start selling it in a little bit. We did a time study on the mole sauce. It's $175 a gallon cost to make this stuff. So, but it's delicious. So we just asked for somebody to give us $1 for a shot of that.
Wow, that makes sense. Wow, that's expensive. That's interesting. And what else?
It's got like 30 ingredients in it, and it literally takes a day and a half to make it. So it's a long process.
Oh, I can't wait to try that. That sounds amazing. So what should people when people come, do most people get some chocolate, or do you guys have chocolate samples out so people can try them? Or
well, we're kind of chintzy with the samples. We make people buy it to try it, and it's a little bit devilish in a way. The barbecue line happens to place you standing right in front of the chocolate counter.
Nice.
It's unavoidable. So you will succumb to the power of chocolate. And I think a lot of people will get them a box of chocolates and check out. The guys come in and makes themselves feel better to take the wives home chocolate after they've been eating barbecue. But it's a lot of gifting, and it's become pretty much a dessert. It's our main dessert item also. So people will eat, and then they'll come back around to the chocolate counter and get a chocolate truffle to enjoy after eating a barbecue meal.
So can people come directly in line for chocolate? There's a separate line for chocolate so that you can grab some?
we have two corners. We have the barbecue ordering station, and we have the chocolate counter. So it's two different stations. Now, when it's busy for barbecue, the chocolate people have to fight their way through the barbecue line to get over to the chocolate counter. But we make it known that just push your way over there, fight for it, get in there, be aggressive, and we'll take care of you.
Now, is there any ordering? I'm sure there's ordering in advance for chocolate, but is there any ordering in advance for barbecue?
We are right now in a state of transition on that. We used to take advanced orders, and we had to shut that down because we were concerned about having enough capacity to feed the people coming to the building for the day, and we were running out as it was. So we shut all that down, and we're slowly adding some of that back in where you can call ahead of time and place an order for the next day or a few days ahead of time. This space that's in between us where the walk-in is going will end up being our catering kitchen and to-go window. We're going to call that area Tejas Sweet and Savory. So we'll have chocolate displays there, some new chocolate items there, barbecue to go on that side.
And when do you look at that for opening?
I thought it was going to open about 3 weeks ago, so there you go. We're into the typical. I mean, we were, I think, 9 months late opening the craftery on my probably unrealistic expectation for when things should get done, which is like immediately. Uh-huh. But I would say we're in good shape to probably get that done before the end of the year.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well,
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your time. I know you're pressed for time, and also I'm super proud of you. What a great story! What a fascinating journey that you had that you went on to get to barbecue, and you guys are doing a great job. And I've only heard amazing things. So I'm super impressed.
Well, I appreciate the kindness there, and we'd love to have you visit us for sure. Show you around the campus and
I would love
feed
to.
you up some chocolate, show you how chocolate's made because that's really gets me excited. You know, right over my left shoulder is a
Yeah, I
stone
could see.
grinder, and it's an interesting thing for people to see how chocolate's made.
Oh yeah,
Not that many people really understand the process. So I love doing that. So come over, we'll break barbecue and show you how to make chocolate.
I would love that. That sounds great. I'll be there in about a month, so I'll give you a call ahead of time.
Good deal, man. Well, safe travels.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks for
Hey,
spending time with me.
hey, thanks so much, and have a great weekend.
Take care,
All right,
Kevin.
take care.